We gotta get to WrestleMania talk, buddy.
Yeah,
I watched 10 hours
it.
of TV this weekend.
There you go. Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. It's been, like I said, it's been a lot of fights to talk about. Fights happen, fights happening. So we'll go ahead and hit the end of this now with the stuff we like. Yeah, I think it was like Bob said, it was 2-day WrestleMania weekend. I believe at least 3 of us watched it. So, fellas, quick, what are your thoughts? Give your highlights. What'd you like about it?
It is Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair's world, and we're all just living in it. That was masterfully done. You could see the people had that image of Sasha cage side. Someone recorded, not cage side, ringside after it was over, trying to sell, but also you could see the supreme look of satisfaction on her face. I think I sent it to you also, Steph. Where that's a woman who knew she fucking hit a home run. They made Bianca look like a goddamn superhero. And she's incredible for someone who makes her. She's the first person to make her WrestleMania debut in a main event since Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 19. And I know there's maybe a handful of people who have done that total. That was incredible. That was so well done. Honestly, it should have been the end of WrestleMania right there. Because that was it. That is the peak of it. There was other stuff that was cool. You know, Sami Zayn and KO on night 2 was cool. I thought that was really, I thought the kid, Logan Paul actually took a decent stunner. I was impressed.
Bob, before you continue with the other matches, I just wanted to chime in about that Bianca and Sasha. There were a lot of great spots in the match. There was clearly a lot of great highlights. Mark, I don't know if you saw this, but to me, what would go down as one of the all-time WrestleMania moments was before the match even started. And it was the two of them standing in the ring, and there were just tears in their eyes. Like, they wasn't character, it wasn't kayfabe. They were trying to hold their smile back. They were fighting back tears. They were 2 black women in main eventing WrestleMania, and the moment was just real. And, you know, in a sport that's so scripted, to have the reality of the moment bleed through, that's beautiful to me.
And shout out to Michael Cole for calling out that fact right at the beginning of the broadcast when they were trying to hold back their tears.
Sure.
Yeah, he said 2 black women. There weren't, because they were like earlier in the night, I saw like someone, it was on the pre-show where JBL was like, they're just making history. It's not a race thing. It's not a gender thing. I'm like, no, it is very much a gender and race thing here, brother. That's what's happening here. Yeah. Like, also, like,
10 years ago, there were no women on WrestleMania. And now in the last, 3 years, we have had 2 main events involving women.
Yeah, and despite the poor pre-match build, me and Stefan were talking about this beforehand, like, the excitement level for this match was so high that, like, it didn't matter what they did beforehand about how bad the last 2 months of build has been for it. Because people were fucking down for this. They're like, yeah, this is what the second Bianca won the Royal Rumble, everybody's like, she's picking Sasha Banks. That is what we want to see. And Sasha Banks is my favorite female wrestler. Maybe my favorite wrestler. Well, her and Hangman Page are my 2 favorite wrestlers right now. I think she's the best female wrestler because everybody's best matches with her. That's the thing, man. In wrestling, it's really good for yourself. It's good for you to look good. You make everybody else look good. And she does it to her own fucking physical detriment. Stefan, I was waiting for the moment for her to try to break her neck in this one. But she managed to keep it together physically in this one, at least.
Yes and no. Did you see that welt she got from the gunshot of a hair whip to her abdomen? Like, that's what everyone described it the same. It hit her so hard, it sounded like a gunshot went off in the whole. And it's a friggin' outdoor football stadium. So
that was so cool. Whoever mic'd the ring,
Mike
done.
Mike Ryan from the Dan Levitar show was at WrestleMania for that fight. And he was saying that he was up, he was pretty high up in the stands. And he heard that sound when she got whipped clear as day.
Well, they do mic the ring, but they did a hell of a job of it this time because that literally sounded like they snapped the ribs with the hair whip thing. That was so cool. It was honestly, like, the second night was much worse than the first night. And I know it's a lot of wrestling in general. Main event of the second night was really good, though, I thought. I really enjoyed it, Steph. I don't know about you. I thought they did a really good job. Some people were bitching about Roman winning again. I'm like, this is heel Roman Reigns doing the best work of his career. I'm 100% on board with him winning this. I thought it was really good. What did you think?
Yeah, that's perfect. Like, Edge and Daniel Bryan, they're here to put over the next generation, And this is the one match that they did build up well. Mike, I know you said you weren't super excited about it, but I don't know if seeing it changed your mind. But this is the only one I thought they set up well. I thought they set it up that you could credibly believe any three of these guys could win it, because like of the podcasts I listened to, no one was sure who was going to come out of this. You know, I think the betting thing was that Edge would pin Daniel Bryan to take it off Roman because it's a triple threat, but that way you protect Roman. Not a lot of people were out here saying Roman is just going to defend, you know? So to be surprised in this day and age, like Bob just said, we all kind of knew Bianca Belair from Royal Rumble to this point. This is about making her the star. You know, it was kind of, you know, and that's part of what was so good about that match is, you know, the outcome, but they still hit it in a satisfying way, you know? But so I thought that was good there. Yeah, Mike, how did you end up feeling about it? Because I know you weren't super high on it initially.
So, funny enough, the same affliction that normally hits me on Saturdays during UFC events hit me before the main event, where I was just too goddamn tired.
I was watching with Mike, man. I could see him fading, man. He was fading.
By the time of the co-main event, Bobby could attest to this. I was wrapped in my blanket, almost falling asleep in my chair. That's when I'm like, I'm not gonna enjoy this. Let me just watch it tomorrow.
Stefan, this man's watching this match, and we're all like, "Well, Oscar's gonna lose, right?" And Mike's like, "I'm gonna go to sleep." That's what's happening here. Can I just say my biggest criticism of this whole thing is that they have the pandemic MVPs effectively of this last year of wrestling, which the fact that wrestling kept going during this whole time, maybe not the greatest thing health-wise, but in terms of keeping entertainment on TV, well fucking done, people, I guess. The MVPs of WWE during this stretch were the Hurt Business, Sasha and Bayley. And Bayley not having a match at WrestleMania was bullshit. It was supreme bullshit. What the fuck? What did she have to do, man? They carried the show, the two of them. Sasha and Bayley they were on every show. They were on NXT. They were on SmackDown. They were on Raw. Bayley, I know I'm a homer. She's from here. And I love Bayley. But come on, man. What does she have to do to get... That's like... She should have been on the show. Like, with a match. Her getting punched by the Bella Twins was almost offensive to me. The crowd didn't like it either. They booed the shit out of it. So, that was my take on that. But, sorry.
Mike, you've been knocked out. What was your highlight, though?
Well, I would say the first night was in my book, hands down the better night. The only match in that first night that I thought was subpar was the tag team turmoil. That made no sense. Didn't understand why they had Natalya and Tamina win that shit. It was I thought the Riot Squad should have won and then had them win the tag team titles on day 2. But that's my own opinion. I didn't much like that tag.
Sorry, Mike. Match. Again, your views are wrong. Billie Kay. Billie Kay is the answer to who should win everything in women's matches.
I was about to say that. I was gonna say that one of the highlights for me was that Billie Kay did have a pretty entertaining spot during that match. For me, my favorite match was actually the Bad Bunny match against The Miz. Bad Bunny was all in with this shit. Since Royal Rumble all the way through WrestleMania, he was basically on Raw every week, it seemed like. This man is a massive WWE fan, and you could tell that he was just living out a childhood dream, and he went at that shit full bore. A year ago, the person you would say hands down was the greatest celebrity wrestler was Pat McAfee. You hit a moonsault. Is that what it's called? The moonsault? The shit Pat McAfee hit?
Pat did a lot, in fairness, but I think he did a moonsault. He
did
a
moonsault, right?
Bump,
yeah.
Front flip bump. Also, yeah, he did a lot.
He was the best celebrity wrestler up until Bad Bunny Saturday night. The other thing I took away from that match is, I mean, I've known of The Miz since Real World Back to New York, and I know he's a solid wrestler. I'm not gonna lie and say I always kind of tuned out on The Miz matches, and the fact that him and John Morrison made Bad Bunny look so good and so, I guess, legit, for lack of a better word, for me goes to show, man, The Miz and John Morrison are really good fucking wrestlers.
Did you notice that how much he had to work? It's because Priest was too hurt to actually work this match. Bunny did 90% of the fucking match. Like, he had to carry the team. I was so thoroughly impressed by him. It was great.
Uneven night, but I think I agree with y'all. The first night was spectacular. We're running long, so I'll just give my one highlight. Shout outs to my man Cesaro. I've been a fan of this guy for many years, and I was listening to Bill Simmons talk with Man on their podcast today, and Bill Simmons referred to Cesaro as the internet's favorite wrestler, and that is just true. Cesaro, every year, if you have the list of the most underutilized guys in pro wrestling, it's Cesaro every single goddamn year. And Bob, you sent me the link. I want you to send it to Mark because I doubt he saw it, but like his end sequence to his match with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins always can put on a good match. He can bring out the best in guys. Another guy who just can be the guy, or he can help put over a guy well. But Cesaro, sure, people talked about the big swing, which he did 23 revolutions of, but the UFO spin, that shit was spectacular to me. Like, not a lot of things surprise or impress me in pro wrestling because I feel like I've seen it all. But when he did that UFO spin, that was amazing. And then I heard, like, Masked Man was talking about, there's a quote, like, they wanted him to use that earlier in his career. And he said, no, I'm saving it for WrestleMania. And he just never had that moment. The big push for Cesaro never really quite came. But then here he is going against one of, like, if Roman is the golden child of current WWE, Seth is right under him. You know, Seth is the lieutenant to Roman's being that frontline guy. And so for him to put over Cesaro, and again, the UFO spin to the 23 revolution swing to his neutralizer finisher, and that the crowd gave him the appropriate reaction. All I can hope is they give him something with this. But Cesaro, again, I don't follow pro wrestling super close anymore, but Cesaro has been a guy I've liked for a damn long time. So I really hope that this is finally the big push he's deserved. Truly, I think he's the most physically impressive wrestler in all of pro wrestling. I think he just does things, his feats of strength, and his feats of strength plus his agility. I don't think any other pro wrestler has that combination that he has. And he's funny on Up, Up, Down, Down, you know? I liked watching them play Among Us because he's Swiss and English is his like fifth language. He was terrible at lying. Everyone always knew when Swiss was the imposter. He's like, what task were you doing, Swiss? The thing with the light. All right, Swiss is the imposter. He's the imposter. He sucks at it. He's not good at lying. But so I was just proud to see him. Hope you do get to check that out, Mark. But we've been talking long enough. Mark, what do you got that's not pro wrestling this week? Send us home.
Well, I guess first to cut that, I will say last week I had to mention my PS4. You know, it croaked on me. It was, you know, ironically right on. You know, Easter was kind of the day we knew like it wasn't acting right anymore. But much like the man himself, within 3 days' time, that PS4 was whistling right back. We're back. Gotta give a shout out to in San Leandro, California. I think it's called EFX Computers. I mean, it's just a little computer shop, but I knew it was the fan. Like I said, I knew it could be fixed. These guys fix it up real good. And I know some of you guys have old PS4s too. And maybe your fan's loud because mine was fucking loud. I remember when I would play Monster Hunter with Sean and Chris, I used my camera as the mic. So me and Christine can talk to Sean and Chris and we can all hear each other. And they could hear my fan. They're like, what's that buzzing sound? I was like, oh, that's the fan going right now. You can hear that on the mic. It's picking it up. And it's super quiet now. So got to give a shout out to that. You know, let's hope we get like 5 more years out of this PS4 I got.
Mark, if you don't mind my chiming in, I just got to give a preview to the people. You know, once again, if y'all don't know, we got a YouTube channel. And our man, Mike, he makes a very entertaining segment for this stuff we like. And I just got to say, Mike, I am hoping for the juiciest of Jesus photos for Mark's segment. I want some boulders moving over. I want you to find the choicest Jesus photos you can find.
Let's not put too much on Mike. It's a miracle that he does anything at all. That is just like above and beyond what I was expecting. But outside of that, you know, the PS4 is rocking. Very happy you didn't have to get a new one. So that's one thing I definitely like. And then, you know, hate to bring it back. We're doing a lot of WWE coverage, but I've also been delving into more of the Up, Up, Down, Down YouTube channel, which I do find very fun. The wife enjoys it too. You know, I think listening to the New Game podcast kind of, you know, and she actually, she knew about Xavier because he was doing a lot of stuff with Penny Arcade and their D&D game. So that kind of all just transitioned well to making watching more up, down, down stuff really fun. And they have a lot of content, so it was a lot of stuff to go through and watch. But that's kind of it. I didn't have a ton this week. It was mostly the resurrection of the PS4, watching up, down, down. And I saw some clips of WrestleMania. They were showing some stuff on YouTube, and I was like, okay, someone's getting DDT'd on a stair. Let's watch that. Let's watch this. But I didn't see the moment that you were talking about when the two Sasha Banks and who was the other one? I've seen her. She has like the big ponytail, right?
Bianca Belair.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about her. Not following the sport, I've seen a lot of her and have not seen her wrestle. So I might try to check that out. Hey, honestly, I think we said it way back when I first started watching Up, Down, Down, sporadically. It's a really good platform to get you interested in watching the WWE, because you watch these guys and you like them as people, and it's just like, well, maybe I'll see what they're doing, what kind of hijinks they get up to when they're, playing make-believe in the ring anyways, because that's more or less what they're doing on the YouTube channel. So yeah, that's all I got this week.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. It's been a long episode, but we had to talk about Jake Paul, right? That's gonna get those tags in, get those labels. We know what's trending this week, guys. But thank you for listening. Thank you for joining with my rambling. I'm rarely your host. I get a little excited, but I appreciate all of y'all bearing with us, all of you tuning in week to week. For my fellas, I'm Kid Presentable. That was Dr. Law, DJ Mark, Lavender Gooms. Cheers, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.